Satan knows this, and that is why there is so much upheaval in the world today, so much abuse and communism being spread in the Western world. Your rights and liberties are being stripped from you. Churches are being closed, and prices are soaring. People entrusted with nations are not worshiping God anymore, but his nemesis. And this is all a sign that the birth pangs of this intermediary coming of Christ is upon us.
Glory to God in the highest.
Thank you for tuning in to our daily inspiration again. And as always, I hope all of you will be learning something useful from another short video here. And now what I'd like to do this time is share this clip of Father Joseph Iannuzzi as he talks about the end times as well as a little bit on the intermediary coming of Christ. Please listen to this.
Imagine you wanting to do everything that's in your power to lead your children to Jesus Christ, to the truth, to the sacrament, so that their souls can be beautiful and saved as we approach these end times and the intermediary coming of Christ. Let's face it, we're not at the end of the world, but we're at the moment in time where Christ is about to return in an intermediary manner. This has been taught by St. Augustine and St. Cyril of Jerusalem in the 4th century. This has been taught by Bernard Clairvaux, St. Bernard of Clairvaux from the 12th century. This has been taught by Jacques Danielou and other theologians, and by mystical revelations and Marian apparitions approved by the Church. Christ, even Faustino, talked about the coming of Christ being imminent. But this is not the final coming of Christ. Okay? The Catechism speaks of two comings. The first, the Incarnation, Christmas Day, and the last, as the judge of all the living and all the dead, that is immediately associated with the general resurrection, the separating of the sheep of the goats, the sentences of condemnation and righteousness upon them, and the renewal of the earth, and the heavens and the earth, a new heaven and a new earth, New Jerusalem, espousing the bridegroom Christ. But we're not there yet. That's long, far away from now. I would say well over 1,000 years from now, according to the teachings of the fathers who interpreted that 20th chapter of Revelation of the 1,000 years peace as being the Sabbath rest, of which St. Augustine spoke, or this intermediary reign of Christ, of which St. Cyril of Jerusalem spoke, that will last about 1,000 years or so. But it's an interior reign. It's not a physical coming of Christ. You see, that's the final coming. This period of which we are on the cusp is going to be the greatest period in human history, bar none, since Eden. And we are on the threshold of it. And Satan knows this, and that is why there is so much upheaval in the world today, so much abuse and communism being spread in the Western world. Your rights and liberties are being stripped from you. Churches are being closed, and prices are soaring. People entrusted with nations are not worshiping God anymore, but his nemesis. And this is all a sign that the birth pangs of this intermediary coming of Christ is upon us. Christmas is an intimation of this universal birth of Christ within the human soul of all creatures on earth. So God is going to be birthed in each and every one of the remnants that remain after the fire purges the earth. And this fire has been spoken of by St. Peter, by the children of these various Marian apparitions and so forth. But we don't have to worry about the calamities that are going to strike us. And this is one of the rookie errors that people make when they read these prophetic revelations. The human curiosity is drawn to negative end calamities, but we have to restrain from letting our curiosity get the better of us. What we have to do is focus on trust. This takes discipline. We have to focus on the love of God while being mindful of the times we're living in and what's about to happen, without being consumed about these times, you see. How do we do that? By having a daily steadfast regimen of prayer. There's no other way. This is the only way. People ask me, I'm 34 years in this ministry of the priesthood, 25 years ordained in May of this year. And I can attest from my experience that the only remedy to avoiding the pitfalls of running after messages proclaiming gloom and doom, while acknowledging that some of this is true without losing our focus on the love of God and trust in Him, which is far more important, is a steadfast daily prayer life. Now, if you're a person that does not have consistent prayers every day, you won't be grounded in this trust and love. It can only come from a steadfast daily prayer life.
And just because Father Iannuzzi touched a little bit on the devil, knowing that his time is coming to a close, and trying to come up with all sorts of plans and cause chaos in whatever he's trying to do, I thought it's a good idea to share this one from Monsignor Rossetti as well. So please listen to this.
It's often said that Satan's best trick is to hide and not let you know he's present or even exists. And as an exorcist, I found that to be true. And one of our jobs, for example, is to flush out the demons. We pray these powerful prayers from the church, and the demons can't stand and start screaming. But normally, Satan does a pretty good job of hiding. But what we've noticed is, before he reveals himself, there are some more subtle signs, some hidden signs. And I want to give you 7 now that I've noticed. And when you see these, you might ask yourself, perhaps Satan himself or his demons are present and trying to destroy my life. The first one is a sign of lethargy and fatigue. We notice that when demons are present, they suck the energy out of you. And in our online sessions, people will say, I feel a sense of fatigue and tiredness because the demons are starting to be thrown out. And so that's why in the sessions I will cast out the demons of lethargy and fatigue. So first sign, lethargy and fatigue. Second one is nausea and headaches. Again, when demons are present, especially sensitive people will feel this kind of nausea in their stomach, their head will hurt. Or if you go to a place that's deeply infested with demons, those who are more sensitive are more likely to feel this nausea and these terrible headaches. Number 3, a general sick feeling in your body. Again, when the demons are present, they're evil, and you feel your whole body feels sick. And when you leave, it snaps out. When the demons are gone, you don't feel it. A fourth one is an exaggerated anger and sometimes bursts of rage. And all of us get angry, of course, and we do our best to stay calm and be patient. But demonic rage is different. When Satan is present, he exacerbates it. We break out into this anger and sometimes even rage. And it's almost as kind of inexplicable. Where did that come from? Could be the hidden presence of Satan himself. Other signs, division, distrust, and conflict. If you've ever been in a meeting or with people or in a family, and all of a sudden there is this evil spirit of distrust and conflict, and you say, where did that come from? Sort of this intense onset and exaggerated sense of conflict. Again, a sign of, could be a sign of Satan's hidden presence. And we notice this in our exorcism teams. When the team starts in conflict, we talk it out and pray it out too, because sometimes Satan is exaggerating our little conflicts into big ones. Another one is negative mental images or self-talk. For example, you got this idea in your brain, I'm a terrible person, I'm an awful person, God doesn't love me, and all these sort of negative, what we call demonic messages, or what I call sometimes demon brain. When demons are present in our, influencing our mind, you have this terrible negative self-talk, which is, strong when it's the demons doing it. Another one is, and finally, number 7, exaggerated sexual temptations and maybe even blasphemous thoughts. Now, again, we all have sexual temptations. That's what Satan does normally. But when it's special, what we call the extraordinary presence of Satan or his demons, it comes on suddenly. It can be pretty powerful, and it just seems out of character. Where did that come from? Exaggerated sexual temptations, which can hit you like a truck, or blasphemous thoughts. And you say, I don't understand where that came from. So when we see these sorts of things, the first thing you should check is to make sure they're not of a natural origin. Of course, if you have a headache or a stomach ache or feel sick, you want to make sure that there's nothing physically going wrong with you. But when it's Satan's hidden presence, these things tend to come on suddenly, without explanation, without reason, and are very powerful. But the good news is They respond to prayer. So when we recognize, first of all, that these are from the evil one, we're halfway to being liberated. See, he's no longer masked. He's unmasked. And then he's very weak when he's unmasked. So what do? We say, this is not from me. This is from the evil one. These outlandish temptations, these blasphemous thoughts, all the nausea and the headaches and whatever, this is from the evil one. And then we renounce it, we reject it, we rebuke it. The 3 R's.
Well, I guess that is all for the video this time, but still, I hope you've learned something from this video. And please do let me know if you have any suggestions, what I should cover next, what's lacking, etc. And until the next one, thanks again for watching and may God bless you.